Okay, so let's talk about something most of us have in our pockets right now, a smartphone. But we're going to look at one from the world's most secretive country. And let me tell you, it's not just a phone. It's a window, a carefully designed window into a world of absolute, total control.
Right. Let's just start there. I want you to imagine for a second that the phone you're holding is secretly snapping a picture of your screen every few minutes. And all those pictures, they're being saved to a hidden folder that only the government can access. That's not a crazy sci-fi plot. That's just the starting point for using a smartphone in North Korea.
So that's the big question we're diving into here. What does it actually feel like to own and use one of these things every day? Well, the answer shows us a world where technology isn't about freedom or connection. It's the ultimate tool for surveillance. Let's break down exactly how they do it.
So the control begins the second you get the phone. It's not really yours. Think of it more like a registered instrument of the state, built from the ground up with one main purpose: to spy on its owner.
And just look at how deep this goes. Right from the get-go, your name is permanently tied to that phone's unique ID number in a government database. You can't just sell it to a friend. That's illegal. And beyond those random screenshots, every call you make, every text you send, even the patterns of your texting, it's all being tracked. Privacy isn't just violated, it's designed to not exist in the first place.
Okay, so that's the hardware. But what about the software? At a glance, it looks like any other Android phone. You might think, how different could it possibly be? The answer? It's a completely different reality. It's a walled garden, but it's disguised to look just like an open field.
And this, right here, shows you the massive gap. On our phones, we've got the Google Play Store, millions of apps, and we decide what we want to install. In North Korea, no Google, period. You can only get state-approved apps. And get this, the government can install or even delete anything on your device whenever they want without even asking.
So, let's say you want a new app. Forget the App Store. You have to physically go to a store. You pick an app from an offline kiosk, and the purchase is logged, linking your personal ID to that specific app. And then, you don't even install it yourself. A state employee does it for you. The whole idea of just freely downloading something from the internet is completely non-existent. All right, you've got your phone, you've got your handful of state-approved apps. What can you actually connect to? Well, not the internet as we know it. You get access to a tiny, completely sealed-off national network. It's called Kwangmyong.
So just how big is this so-called internet? Well, the entire online world for the average North Korean comes down to roughly this many websites.
That's it, around 5,000. To put that in perspective, the global internet has nearly 2 billion websites. This isn't a network for exploring. It's like a tiny library where every single book was written and approved by the exact same author, the government.
So what does that actually mean day to day? It means anything that involves unscripted interaction with other people or getting information from the outside world is just banned. No multiplayer games, because you might chat with someone. No global news. All media, all education, it's all squeezed through the state's filter. And this is where the control gets, frankly, way more personal. It's not just about limiting what you can see anymore. It's about actively shaping your thoughts, your language, and even how you're allowed to remember things. This isn't an accident. It's a core philosophy, and it's literally coded into the phone. The regime works on the principle that if they can control the very words people use, they can control how people think about everything: the world, their families, and of course, their leaders. And look at how they do it. The keyboard itself is a propaganda tool. If you try to type South Korea, it will literally autocorrect to puppet state. Try to type words of affection like brother or sister, and it will push you to use comrade instead, because strong personal bonds are seen as a threat to state loyalty. The only love you're supposed to express is for the supreme leader. This control even bleeds into your camera roll. The camera isn't for capturing your reality, it's for projecting state ideology. You can't take a picture of a rundown building. You can't use Western poses like a peace sign. Even taking a selfie is frowned upon because it celebrates the individual over the state. Every photo is supposed to project this perfect, flawless image of the country. So, you have to ask why. Why go to these unbelievable lengths to build this digital prison? It's not because they're behind on technology. No. This is a very deliberate, very calculated strategy for one thing: the regime's survival. The whole thing really traces back to the 1990s and the collapse of the Soviet Union. The leadership in North Korea saw what happened when outside information started flowing freely, and they realized it was a direct threat to their power.
From that moment on, technology was never about progress. It was about building a fortress to keep the world out and maintain total control.
And if you want a perfect, chilling example of this paranoia in action, check this out. On their state-made computer operating system, any media file you open gets secretly watermarked with your computer's ID. Then, if you share that file in a USB stick with your friend, their computer ID gets added to the watermark. It's like a digital chain. The authorities can grab that file at any time and trace its journey back, person by person.
Now, it is so easy to look at all this and just think, wow, what a bizarre, far-off dystopia. But I think the most powerful part of understanding this system is that it kind of forces us to look in the mirror and think about our own relationship with technology. And really, this is what it all boils down to. In North Korea, there are no choices. The control is total, it's in your face. In our world, the ways we're tracked and influenced can be way more subtle, but the key difference is we have options. We get to choose what apps we use, what news we read, and what parts of our lives we share.
And that's really the big takeaway here. In a world full of algorithms built to keep us scrolling and platforms that quietly shape what we see, the real power we have is in our ability to make conscious choices. So that's the final thought I want to leave you with. Seeing an extreme like North Korea really makes you ask, we're lucky enough to have all these options, but are we actually using them on purpose? Or are we just kind of passively letting technology use us? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.